All right, folks, the big debate tonight, and the moderator will be Chris Wallace of Fox News Channel. Big conservative, right? I don't know. And if you recall, I believe it was the first Republican presidential debate during the primaries. Chris Wallace was the moderator, and Donald Trump, in an interview with me done shortly after that here on Newsmax TV, I asked him, hey, why did you today, or why did you last Sunday, go on with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press, but you didn't go on with Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday? This was coming on the heels of that first presidential Republican primary debate, and here's what Donald Trump told me.
Well, I had some major issues with Chuck Todd, and frankly, he's been very fair to me over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I respect him. And they asked me to do it, and I'm doing it. I didn't think that the tone that Chris asked the question was appropriate. I like Chris, but, Chris said that he didn't think I was going to run and all of these things, and I'm not saying that he was wrong in saying that, but I did feel I was going to run, so I was a little bit insulted. And this is, months ago, and
right.
A little bit insulted. And I was a very good friend of Mike Wallace, Chris's father. Right. In fact, Mike did me on 60 Minutes.
You'll go back on with Chris one day?
I would go back on with Chris at the appropriate time, but I thought the level of hatred in Chris's question a little bit. And interesting, I used the same line with him. I said the blood pouring out of his eyes. I used the same. Nobody objected to that, which is sort of interesting.
Of course, referring to when he used that line about Megyn Kelly, people thought he was speaking about her being a female. So interesting, the level of hatred in Chris's questions. We'll see if that carries over in the mind of Donald Trump to tonight's debate. Hillary is out with a new ad. Let's watch.
This is not an ordinary time, and this is not an ordinary election. I want to send a message to every boy and girl, and indeed to the entire world, that America already is great, but we are great because we are good. My vision of America is an America where everyone has a place.
Okay, of course, read her emails. You have a place unless you're a needy Latino, or maybe you're Ben Jealous, the former head of the NAACP, or not her emails, but the campaign's emails, Podesta's emails, or some of her emails where she said blacks don't succeed no matter what the circumstances. I mean, please, she admits she has a public persona and ideology and a private one. So anything comes out of this woman's mouth is more than suspect. You have to consider it as a lie and then work to prove it true, in my opinion. All right, there's a Rasmussen poll out today, as there is every day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at that. And we see that they're tied. Clinton and Trump tied. Johnson 7, Stein 1. Undecided 6. That's a rather large chunk of undecided in a neck-and-neck race. That's, of course, one of the closer polls. We have another poll that's pretty close. Investors Business Daily, as we put up here, has Trump ahead. Statistically insignificant. Nonetheless, he's up by 1.3, 41.3 to 40. The LA Times poll today is also tied. Dead heat, just so you know. Also, I want you to watch this.
My wife and I were in North Carolina today, and I wanted to come by to call attention to this cowardly attack on our supporters in North Carolina, and to no less extent, an attack on the American political system. This was an act of political terrorism. And I have to tell you how inspired I am to see the way this community has come together and the people have come together to continue to move forward undeterred, unintimidated by this senseless act of violence.
Of course, he's talking about the firebombing of the North Carolina Republican headquarters. He went on to say if this had been a Democratic headquarters, we know this would have been dominating the media and Trump would have been blamed. Absolutely. And of course, we now have, ladies and gentlemen, two Democratic operatives who have lost their jobs after they were caught on tape telling James O'Keefe how they participated in fomenting violence at Trump rallies. They have now lost their jobs. Again, if this were the other way around, the media would be covering it nonstop. Hopefully Donald Trump brings this up tonight at the debate.